Good afternoon and welcome to the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance's Business Excellence Assessment webinar. We are grateful you are taking the time to join us. Before we start, I would like to introduce some of the OMA staff that are joining us. Jessica Mugg is our Business Development Manager. Roger Kelly is our Director of Operations. Kyle Robison and myself, Greg Seiss, are Regional Business Consultants. As we get started, we will share a little bit about the OMA, and then we'll move into who the assessment is for and how it works. If you have any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. We will answer them at the end. The OMA exists to support the Oklahoma manufacturers that support our economic growth. When manufacturers are strong, our communities prosper and our state's economy thrives. Since 1992, the OMA is the only statewide organization dedicated solely to the manufacturing industry, which continues to be the backbone of Oklahoma's economy and a creator of high-paying jobs. The OMA is a network of trusted experts working with manufacturers to help them grow and evolve. We work primarily as a service provider through our knowledgeable and experienced field and delivery staff of engineers and manufacturing specialists. We provide manufacturing consulting services with the intent of providing economic impact to our clients, measured through revenue, jobs, cost reduction, and investments. Or we connect manufacturers to a wide array of resources available to manufacturers in the state of Oklahoma. This includes local and state economic development resources, our universities, and the tech centers. We can provide manufacturers with the exact resources they need to quickly push changes into action.
Thanks. Hi, again, my name is Kyle Robison. First of all, some things to consider when looking at the Business Excellence Assessment. First, it's fast and comprehensive. We found that this is one of the quickest and best ways to assess all key areas of a business, especially when it's paired with a factory floor walkthrough. It's tailored. Since it's based on input from your leadership team about your company, we don't assess you, you assess yourselves. It's unbiased. OMA facilitates the results meetings so we can help to point out pluses you may have taken for granted or handle any sensitive topics that may arise. It's also results and action oriented. The assessment participants develop a prioritized list of improvements before we even leave the results meeting. It encourages openness. Scores are anonymous. No one, including OMA, knows who provided each score or comment. This anonymity encourages honesty. It's balanced. Covers all major areas of the business. We don't just go in with the clipboard and look around for what's visible on the factory floor. It's also confidential. It's safe. We don't share your results and we don't share others' results with you. It's also both quantitative and qualitative. Through the it provides quantified results through the assessment scores and also qualified detail from discussions at the results meeting. So it really gives you a great overall documented snapshot of your organization's health. And finally, it's both tactical and strategic. Group discussion of the assessment results leads to some go do it, immediate things, and some longer term actions that typically need some time and outside help. First, the assessment identifies improvements that the business can make so it runs better with minimal oversight. Therefore, management changes don't cause major business disruptions. You can also see where the gaps are so they can be fixed now. Also, if you have normal business slowdowns, you can use it to identify improvement projects for employees. Let's be honest, every business has issues. The assessment keeps you from having tunnel vision and focusing only on one area. It gives you a high-level, holistic view of the business. For example, one company was about to hire a new CFO, and they saw the assessment as a great way for the new leader to quickly learn about the company's strengths and weaknesses. Also, say you are getting ready for ISO certification or supplier audit. The Business Excellence Assessment helps to quickly set the stage. Areas covered align with all certification and audit programs. It's also said that good behaviors lead to good culture. The assessment gives you improvement areas to work on as a team, which is key to developing or continue to build a healthy culture. If you're wondering if this will work for your business, the short answer is yes. The Business Excellence Assessment works for any manufacturer of any size, in any business, and at any stage. However, we've done several of these, so we have seen some patterns. We tend to see the most improvement in businesses that really have a strong desire to improve. They're not satisfied with the status quo. They're always looking to reduce costs, grow sales, become more efficient, become more safe, and to also attract and retain employees. Basically, they already have or want to develop a continuous improvement culture. It's the same with the business owner or key decision maker. There are no requirements to qualify for a business excellence assessment, but we do see more rapid improvements from an owner who is open to input and help, both internally from employees and externally. They are typically a motivated, strategic thinker, and maybe most importantly, they're willing to invest their time, effort, and money in improving the business and its employees. Jennifer Ellis owns Cosmetic Specialty Labs in Lawton, Oklahoma, and has been a great partner with the OMA. It's a family-owned, multi-generational business started by Jennifer's grandmother. Cosmetic Specialty Labs formulates, mixes, and packages products for name brand companies. There are several major retailers, so you've likely seen some of their products under other companies' names. OMA facilitated the first Cosmetic Specialties Business Excellence Assessment in March of 2021. We then worked closely with them on site over the next several months to implement their customized improvement plan. A few months ago, they completed their second Business Excellence Assessment, and it was really great to see quantitative evidence of their tremendous progress. There's still some work to do, but Jennifer says they can really feel the difference in the way the business runs.
The assessment focuses on 6 critical areas within your company. Without optimization in any of these areas, pain points can surface, resulting in barriers to growth. Because each of the 6 critical areas do not operate independently from one another, they can adversely impact others in the system. First is your strategy. An unclear or missing strategy can lead to confusion. If departments, divisions, or managers operate their part of the business in a vacuum because they don't agree with, align with, or understand the organization's strategy, the silos created can cause friction. One of the biggest factors impacting your organization are your people and how you engage them. If they are not properly enabled and equipped, the result will be low performance. Methods and tools are the standards and processes that impact quality, lead times, and waste. Lateral processes are how the departments in your organization communicate and collaborate with one another. If teams are working independently of one another and the overall strategy, the result is gridlock. And finally, how do you measure success? For most companies, it simply comes down to one metric: profitability. While this isn't wrong, there are many others that support profitability and measure the performance of your organization. Having the right metrics helps a company make data-driven decisions and can change behaviors to positively impact success. Additionally, based on feedback and to address the growing needs of manufacturers in our state, we have added sections covering supply chain, cybersecurity, and export. The assessment is an easy 3-step process that we guide you through. Our goal is to make this as simple as possible. We will provide you with everything you need to share this to your team and let them know what to expect. First, we send you an email to share with your team. We ask that you only include senior leadership team members, management, or potentially those with supervisory roles. The email will include an explanation of the process, as well as a link to a short, anonymous online questionnaire. It takes less than 15 minutes to complete, so it can be done while on a break, over lunch, or right before you leave for the day. Second is a 2-hour report out session. This is the most important step in the process. During this time, we will facilitate a group discussion based on the average responses to the questions and work with you to diagnose any pain points you and your team may be feeling. Sometime during the first 2 stages, we do like to set up an on-site visit with one of our manufacturing specialists so we can see firsthand what you do and how you do it. From there, we will work with you to develop a tailored plan to move you and your team toward the future state you desire for your company. Whether you work in aerospace or agriculture, if you are a job shop or a process manufacturer, large or small, we understand that no 2 companies are the same. So, based on the results of your assessment, we collaborate with you to design a plan that meets your specific needs. Whether working directly with one of our trained manufacturing specialists or engineers, or connecting you to one of our partners, we can provide the exact resource you need to help you become more effective, efficient, and profitable, all with economic impact in mind. OMA services include engineering, consulting, design to meet your specific needs, training in any of the lean methodologies that focus on minimizing waste and maximizing productivity. We provide supply chain training as well as our supply chain database called Connects. We can work with you for strategic planning and leadership development. To address the growing need for workforce in the state of Oklahoma, we have partnered with industry leaders to develop real-world solutions, including technology and innovation, manufacturing career path education, as well as alternative pipelines like the Registered Apprenticeship Program, as well as additional services like website, marketing, and cybersecurity. When you are ready to schedule an assessment or to follow up from one of our field staff, you can go to the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance webpage at okalliance.com/contact and select Schedule an Operational Assessment, or you can scan the QR code to take you directly to the sign-up page for an assessment. Our email addresses are listed here as well. We would be happy to follow up with you to provide additional information, or you can schedule directly through us. At this time, we would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Jessica is monitoring the chat, so if you haven't already, please put your questions there.
Yes, Greg, we do have a question. Is there a cost to the assessment?
So as you'll see there at the top of the slide, we want to invest in the manufacturers in our state. Through some of the funding that we received as an MEP center, we utilize that to then provide this service at no cost to our clients. We feel this is a great way for us to invest in the manufacturers in the state. And so that's exactly what we do.
Kyle, we haven't been in business for very long. Should we wait a minimum amount of time before we do the assessment?
It's a great question. The short answer is no. It's good to establish a baseline. It can be done at any point in time. If you're a new business, it's great to see what gaps you may have. And it also sets a baseline. Typically, there will be gaps in a business, especially just starting out. So then we can follow that up with another business excellence assessment like Cosmetic Specialty Labs did a year later, and we can see the actual growth of the business during that time frame. So I'd say it's never a bad time to do an assessment, especially if you're a young business for starting out. It sets a great baseline, sets a great path for improvement. So thank you.
And Greg, how quickly can companies get assessments scheduled with the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance?
We can start scheduling these immediately. Typically, what we do like to do is start the process, and about 2 weeks later, we schedule the report out session. That gives everybody time to complete the assessment, as well as giving us some time to prepare for that 2-hour session with your team to do the deep dive into your responses. So overall, it takes about 2 weeks from start to finish. The commitment time from you is less than 15 minutes for the online version and 2 hours for the report out session.
And in the chat, I have put the OK Alliance website with the contact link where you can go directly and click and fill out your information if you wanted to be contacted for more info on our assessment. Any other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. As a reminder, Kyle, who all, if an assessment is scheduled, who all in a manufacturing organization should take this assessment, and how long does it take for an individual to complete?
Thanks, Jessica. It's up to the business owner, but we work with them. A lot of it depends on the size of the company. We don't want a group of 25 people in there. Typically, we'd have the senior leadership team. So if the company has a leadership meeting once a week or twice a week, then we would look around and see that they would probably have somebody from supply chain, HR, all of the functional areas, as well as some people that don't have supervisory skills, but maybe they were with the business for a long time and you value their input. So we work with the clients to figure out what's the right number and who the right people might be to have in that, because that's really important to know who is providing the input and then who's going to be in the results meeting so we can go through it with the group. But again, good question. It's not only 5, it's not only 7. We don't want to get to 15. We want to keep it typically around 7 is a good group size, but it varies based on, like everything else, based on the business itself and what they want to, who they want to include, and we'll work with them on that.
I do have another question in the chat. How would the assessment be affected by the restrictions of ITAR facilities and other controlled military technical data?
That's a good one.
That is a really good question. We would certainly work with you. I know that there's obviously some confidentiality that go along with those types of things. And so we would certainly work with you to determine what can and cannot be communicated and shared. But certainly we would take all those things into consideration. Again, the assessment itself is confidential. We don't share that with anybody. We don't share anybody's assessment with you. But the biggest thing to take away from this is we'll work with you to determine what can and can't be covered, or any information that needs to be and remain confidential.
Another thing, Greg, if I can add on to that, is the questions and really there's statements in here. They're statements about a company. They're not questions that would divulge any confidential information. So it's more about how the business operates, not exactly what they do. So it's about the characteristics of the business. And again, we'll work with you and make sure that we don't violate any of your ITAR restrictions. But we've worked with several companies that are under ITAR, and after they see the assessment, we just may have to be careful of what computers they use to fill out the assessment. We've had one that said they had a dedicated computer and everybody just stopped by during their break and filled out the assessment so they could kind of control the outbound, getting to the link and filling out the assessment. So again, that hasn't prevented us from doing anything, but we'd love to talk to you more about that and make sure.
I have another question. Can the assessment be catered to a department in a company? I'm looking at operations, which would be supply chain and production.
So one of the things that we like to say about our assessment is that it is holistic. We do like to look at the entire organization. There are specific sections in there related to supply chain. It focuses on the entire organization. So from the front office to the manufacturing floor, we're going to cover those 6 critical areas, as well as the 3 additional: supply chain, cybersecurity, and export. It really focuses on your entire company. So to say that it is, you want to focus on one specific area of the company, it's ideal that we look at the entire organization, because what we may find is there are overlaps from one unit to the other within your organization.
And also it could be viewed as how much those particular areas know about the rest of the business, especially if those other areas of the business are in another state or another location where it's not easy to get everybody together. It gives you a view of what that group that were surveyed, how they view the rest of the organization. So again, it's we don't have the ability to go in and cut out a bunch of questions. It's like Greg said, it's a holistic survey to view how people view the entire organization, whether they know a lot about it or they know very little about it. I hope that answers that.
All right. Any other questions in the chat?
Jessica, if we have a minute, maybe Greg, you and I talked a little about, and we talked with Roger about making sure that people understand kind of the process and that 3-step process. If we have time, could we maybe go back to that slide and just kind of do a very quick, and I know there are people that joined late, so that might get them kind of caught up on the whole process. Sorry, Greg, did you just quit sharing?
I did. I will reshare here 1 second.
Sorry.
So again, it's real simple. We like to simplify this as much as possible for our clients. We provide you with all the information that you'll share with your team. We don't expect you to have all the answers, and so we provide that information for you. Additionally, when you receive your link to the online portion of the assessment, there's a brief video at the very beginning. It takes about 4 minutes to watch that. It'll provide some additional information for the team members that may not have been involved in the conversation initially. But it takes 15 minutes to fill out the online portion. You'll get an email with the link. Your team will go online, fill out the online portion. Once it's submitted, then we will schedule a 2-hour outbrief session. Like I said, we like to plan about 2 weeks from start to finish so that everybody has time to complete the online portion. And that also gives us some time to prepare for the report out session. That time will take 2 hours. And from there, then we'll sit down with leadership and work to develop a tailored optimization plan. And that plan may be phased over time. It may involve things that, like Kyle said, you can go do yourself right now, or maybe there's some areas where it would benefit you to bring in an outside resource that could either be us as your resource or one of our partners. And then we will work with you to help implement that plan.
And the last question I see is, will this presentation, had another one as well. Do you show any measurable results from previous businesses? Maybe I missed it. Before assessment, after assessment metric data is what the company or the question is regarding for previous clients that we've worked with.
Kyle, I think your cosmetic specialty example is the best one for that.
Yes, we don't share, we don't and we can't share the information from other companies. We talk in general terms about typically some of our products. For example, say typically customers see a 20% improvement in overall throughput, things like that. We don't talk specifics about any of our customers. We just try to give an idea of just rough numbers, no specifics. And again, those numbers are confidential and we can't really do that, but we can share anecdotal information, research information, stuff like that that is readily out there and published.
And like was shared in the presentation, we certainly can come back a year later and do another assessment with you and see if there's any measurable changes over that period of time.
Yes, and we go over that with that particular customer or company.
Will this presentation be available afterwards?
Yes, we are recording this. I imagine that not only will we share a link with individual companies that were a part of the webinar today. We had some folks that registered that may not have been able to join us, so we'll share it with them as well. But we will certainly keep this recording. And Jessica, maybe you answer this better than I could, but I think at some point it will be available somewhere on our website as well, correct?
Yeah, we'll send the link out to all attendees today. So if you have anyone in your business that you want to share this webinar with, as well as it will be available on our website. So you can go back and refer to this later on as well, if you missed the first part of the session or anything like that.
And Greg and I are available also if somebody wants to do a call or an on-site visit. We'd be happy to come out and go over more detail or review anything that you've heard.
All right, seeing no other questions in the chat and hitting the 2:30 mark, we want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us here at the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance. Thank you so much to Kyle and Greg, and thank you all for joining us. Have a fantastic day.
Thanks, everybody.